for him, our boy Kevin down in Florida. Good morning, Kev. How are you?
Try not to make it painful, Curt.
So, what's going on? What's your thoughts about this whole bump stock legislation?
Well, I mean, if the United States of America has rights from God, how did D.C. get in between, or state legislators get in between us and God? Well, they took God out. And so we have people who worship false gods. We also have people who have no God, or, they worship Satan in whatever form he takes for them. In other words, Satan can appear differently to these folks, like Jeffrey Dahmer. He had to be really evil, but he was just a poor kid on a street. He didn't get caught. And if you're very, very rich in America, you can go behind the door.
Yeah.
You can go in your secret room. And, the politicians have been tainted by all this. Right. And so they're very, very afraid of Americans with guns. And so the situation here is tyranny has risen because of evil on many fronts. And they seek to take our weapons so that we can defend ourselves and or assert the right of every American to throw off a repressive government.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is if that is true, if this government is turning into the tyrannical government that the Constitution and the Second Amendment were created
like back
to
in 1993 on April 19th, the FBI bulldozed a crime scene because they had to cover up their misdeeds. And Americans didn't stand up.
Well, because Americans didn't know.
They relied on the media, and they went about their lives, whether they were involved in work or play or whatever it was. There were just so many things in the world to take you away from the fact that they murdered those kids and bulldozed it.
What about now? I mean, now it feels like now we're being played in the ultimate shell game.
The operators have changed because of age, and these new guys aren't any good. That's why there's so many holes in this that can't be covered up. The old guys were much more adept at handling the visuals than these people.
Hey, I'm going to back up because I think I just totally dismissed something you just said. What event were you speaking of that got bulldozed?
Waco.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, they have been hiding stuff from the American people and inserting stuff in front of them and doing everything they can. And the ultimate goal is legislation. There's nothing that they know how to do in D.C. except to legislate. They go down to the corner, they get their stuff, they get whatever a doctor writes a script for them. They're all happy. They didn't like Sonny Bono because he was doing it, but he was conservative. So he got whacked in the head with a tree branch, That's just how it gets done.
Well, the challenge is that part of there's some Alex Jones to you in the sense that you're very comfortable with your knowledge and grasping of situations that other people look at and they'll scoff. They'll be, oh yeah, whatever, dude, you're a conspiracy theorist. But the more these things happen, Kevin, the closer, you told me, God, a long time ago, when we started this show, when we first started to get to know each other, about this pedophilia ring in Hollywood. And I have not seen one story that would refute anything you told me.
No, and the thing is,
but
you have to take a look. It's only poor people get busted for this crime. You don't see any rich people.
Kevin, even worse than the stories that don't refute it, there are stories that are coming out that are making it more and more obvious.
Well, just in fact, in your state there, Curt, like the Skagels, it took years for that guy to go down, for the murder of that girl.
And then when someone like the Clinton crime cabal gets publicly exonerated and publicly placed above the law, people tend to not believe that is the norm. It's the exception rather than the rule. But it actually, when you look at the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world and the Bill Clintons of the world and the Bill Cosbys and the Weinsteins and the Kennedys, they are above the law. They are wealthy enough to not have to play by the same rules you and I do.
And it all goes back to a corrupt system, and the legal system and the people that write the laws are just absolutely corrupt.
So if we take that conversation and we have it, we draw it out, the only way to fix that is to tear it all down and start over.
Oh yeah, there's got to be a lot of neutering going on. Yeah.
And I mean that you're talking about, that's an armed confrontation.
Oh, I don't think so. I think that can be done by the people. When you say armed confrontation, if you cannot trust the FBI, you cannot trust the ATF, you cannot trust the DEA, you can't trust any of these three-lettered agencies we got, then the president has the power to deputize the people,
Right.
The people are the power here, and so
that Convention of the States, right?
What's that, sir?
Convention of the States.
Well, no. See, the people have the right to rise up. We can throw off tyranny, and this is approaching tyranny. And if people want to sit around and wait for it to happen so that they have like a social consensus, whether it's the right thing to do or not, they are the frog in the pot.
Right. Well, but again, the only way you and I can affect the concept, the only way I think our Constitution is ever going to be impacted is with a Constitution of the states. And if you understand the legalities and the numbers around that, I think it's becoming...
Well, that's a good way to go. But see, Curt, I've been sitting here looking at this stuff since the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And I'm seeing that it goes nowhere. And if you think that you're playing with time at this point in the way that God has things rolling along, you're wrong. I have a friend that he's got all these dreams, property here, property there, and everything, but he doesn't have the time to go to it because he's still out there plugging for a buck. And so, the time is short. The next generation has absolutely no idea of what you and I are talking about right now.
No. Well, there was. I got to tell you, I wouldn't have recognized this if Dan Bongino hadn't pointed it out earlier. But kudos to this generation for calling out the Harvey Weinsteins. I mean,
because that's all they know. They've been taught sex. I mean, when you were in Texas helping people out, you didn't see anybody go up and say, "Hey, I'm gay, but I'm here to help you."
Right.
Like you said, well, they weren't talking politics. Well, in college, they talk sexuality as if they're it's smart. I mean, you could learn more on a street corner in Los Angeles in about 15 minutes than you can from one of those college professors.
Right. No, that's a fair point. I listen to and watch some of the lesson plans my daughter is in college.
They lead the youth astray, and they have hurt the American culture, and they seek to tear us down from their position of tenure.
Right. No, that's fair. I mean, Saul Alinsky's turning out to be one of the brightest forward-thinking men I've ever known because he's 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah, because he followed the devil.
Well, yeah, and he put this in motion.
Who knows man better than the devil?
Right. Nah, I get it.
Yeah, that's our accuser at the end.
Yep. Hey, Kev, always a pleasure, buddy. Tell your better half I said good morning. I love her. Talk to you soon, pal. That's Kevin. Barefootcavalry.com is Kevin's blog. Take a listen. Take a read. It's pretty fascinating stuff. We will take a short break. We'll be back with our final segment.